In this lesson, we're going to look at the question, how do I multiply integers? And a great way to think about this is just to start thinking about, like, what is 3 times 4? And so when we think of 3 times 4, we might think that it's 3 groups with 4 in them. Now say that instead of doing 3 times 4, we did 3 times -4. Well, in this case, we're looking at 3 groups, each group with -4 in them. So when I go to find the product, it's basically the same as 3 times 4, except in this case, when I look at this whole group, 4, 8, 12, okay, so it's going to be 12, and they're all negative chips, so it would actually end up 3 times -4 would equal -12. Say you even think like on a number line, like I have them at 0, and I'm going to go -4 3 times. So I go -4, I'm at -4 now. I do -4 again. At this point I'm at -8, and I do it one more time. It's an 8. And this one more time puts me at -12. So 3 times -4 would be -12. Here's another example, 4 times -3. In this case, you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, each with -3 in them, 3, 6, 9, 12, so it's a total of 9, that's just a total of 12 negatives, so your answer would be -12. 4 times -3 equals -12. This would also work on a number line if I just repeatedly went -3, and then went -3 a second time, and -3 a third time, and -3 a fourth time. I end at -12. So either way, whether you're thinking about it like as repeated addition or just combining your equal groups, your you still would get to -12 in the problem 4 times -3. So when we were dealing with one positive and one negative number, the answer both times came out negative, because it's always going to do that. When you have one positive, one negative, your answer will be negative. When we have 2 positives, that's just regular multiplication. 3 times 4, so 3 times 4 is 12. So in this case, we're dealing with 2 negatives, the third situation. -3 times -4. The way to think of this is, you know that 3 times -4 means 3 groups of 4. So 3 times -4 means 3 groups of -4, which we found out was actually -12. So in this case, because you have the negative in front of the 3, what we're really doing is saying it's the opposite of 3. So really we're saying it's the opposite of 3 groups of -4. So then when we go to draw our groups, we're not thinking of each group being a group of -4. We're thinking, what's the opposite of -4? Oh, well, the opposite of -4 would be +4, so each group would look like this. So each group total, you have one group of the opposite of -4, the opposite of -4, the opposite of -4, which is +4. So you end up with 3 groups of +4. That's going to be a total of 12, so -3 times -4 equals just +12. Okay, so I want to talk about the 3 types of multiplication problems you'll have. You'll have 2 positive numbers at your basic multiplication you've already done. Positive times negative, those are the first 2 problems, 3 times -4 and 4 times -3. You come up with, you either repeatedly add the negative, or you come up with your equal groups of the negative integer chip, and you end up always with a negative answer here. And then finally you have your negative times your negative. And that was the last example we did, where we did -3 times -4, which is, you have to think of, it's the opposite of 3 times -4. So basically you're thinking it's the opposite of 3 times -4, the opposite of, is how you wanted to think about that one. So what I want you to do is really think about, what are the rules? As we think, how can I multiply integers, think of what are the rules for each one of these situations in terms of what my factors are, positive and positive, negative and negative, or positive and negative. What my factors are, and then what my product is. What's the sign of the product? Will the product be positive or negative in each one of these situations? See if you can think of a rule for that.